Am I the asshole for wanting my son to be treated equally and able to enjoy family meals with cousins? My son is 9 and has ARFID. We are working with many therapists in all areas, but it's slow developing. He has very few safe foods and they are all super processed junk food. He used to have more foods, but when it changes, tastes different, he will no longer eat it. He ate one sour grape 7 years ago and still cries at the thought of eating another. It's bad. Anywho, we used to have family meals with my wife's extended family relatively often, a few times a month, maybe. We stopped when we realized eating in groups was making our son worse. Recently we have had a huge milestone, meaning he can eat in public again. He's super excited about it, and we've eaten out a few times since. McDonald's, mostly, but he's still in public. Anywho, my wife called her sister and asked if we could join their family meals again, maybe just once a month to build his confidence. She said yes initially, and my wife told her we'd bring his food up so he could eat comfortably. My sister-in-law then backtracked, saying that wasn't going to be feasible. She claimed it was too unfair on the other kids to have to eat proper meals while he gets to snack on junk food. Which we obviously understand, but the youngest of the children is 8, and I feel like at that age it's easy to explain that he has additional needs. Which I mentioned to her. My wife got upset and left me to deal with the conversation. I told my sil straight that this wasn't him being treated better, it was a serious medical situation and it wouldn't be that hard to explain to the rest of the children that he has a different diet to them. She got increasingly upset, claiming that her children shouldn't have to be forced to watch him eat nicer food. I then told her my son shouldn't be forced to miss out on family meals, at which point she hung up. She later messaged my wife to inform her I was rude and wouldn't take no for an answer. My wife said I should have just accepted it when she hinted at not wanting him there, but I disagreed. I think he's just as deserving as everyone else. She got annoyed with me, then, and now I'm just wondering if what I said was really that bad. Am I the asshole? I mean, to be totally fair, your son wouldn't be treated equally if he's eating different food. And I do imagine it would be hard to explain to children why your son gets, for example, the McDonald's you picked up on the way over and they have to eat chicken and broccoli. I guess no assholes here though. He has a medical condition, so he gets to eat McDonald's fries and nuggets in front of you while you have to eat broccoli. Probably won't go over too well with an 8-year-old. Right? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it wouldn't go over well with me. Lol. Now I want fries. You are the asshole. I'm sorry for your kid, but your sil is allowed to not want to deal with arguing about food with her kids because yours has a medical condition. Her youngest is 8. He's not going to care that your kid can eat shitty food and that he cannot. Your kid is not her responsibility or her issue to deal with. Find other family members or friends to have outings with. How does such a bad take become the top comment? The kid has a disability and the sister is excluding them because they can't be bothered to parent their children properly to get them to understand why they have different food? FFS. Not the asshole. Thank you. I can't believe some of the ableist responses to the SIL's lazy, discriminatory behavior. God forbid her kids learn that other people are different. What's Sil going to do when one of them develops an allergy to a food that just needs to be served at these dinners? Or when the first child becomes a vegan? I can actually, partially, answer that last part. And #X200B, 3 years older than my sister, went vegetarian in 2018, started off making fun of me, saying it'd only last a few days, but still ate together, and she did attempt to cook some vegetarian options on the very seldom nights she cooked. Nowadays if we're all together I cook it, eat alone, mother and sister eat together, and I don't resent them for it or see it as a bad thing. Just frankly, I know how to prepare vegetarian food I enjoy, so I prefer to cook for myself and they sort themselves out because, frankly, I can't cook meats for love nay money. Soft, you are the asshole. Her kids aren't going to be understanding that this is a serious medical condition for your kid that deserves their empathy. They're going to understand that there is a medical condition, recognized and respected by adults, that means you get to eat junk food. Then, they're going to develop that condition, or at least try it for a few weeks. You mentioned that your kid will eat mac and cheese. I think that's probably a good compromise if your sil is okay with it, but expecting to bring McDonald's for your kid and not have this cause issues with the others is just unrealistic. Good luck, and I'm glad your kid is eating more smiley face. Agree with Soft, you are the asshole. It's a hard spot for all. Though I don't understand why spending time with family is limited to mealtime. Can't they just get together for a couple hours in the afternoon, or movie night after dinner? It could also inadvertently put pressure on the son to eat normally, so he can have relationships and take part in activities. I mean, if I was in your sil shoes I wouldn't think twice about squashing my kids whining about their cousin having a different meal, and I'd just have the conversation with them in advance and remind them that they should be glad that, even though eating junk food all the time might seem like fun, if they think about all the foods they enjoy that they'd never get to eat again if they could only eat the same diet as their cousin, then there's no reason to be jealous. That said, if it's important to you that your kid has family time and your sil made it clear she doesn't want to host your kid, you do have options outside of trying to force her. You could, for example, host the family yourself and serve whatever food you like. For example, I would probably try a buffet-style meal with options your son can eat and options you know the family enjoys that he can't. You may be able to make the point, without saying a word, that the kids in the family are happy eating a variety of food regardless of what others choose to eat. Edit to add. Not the asshole. This. I deleted my original comment out of uncertainty, but yours is the best. It's his wife's family and she thought he should have dropped it, so it did feel wrong to keep pushing the in-laws when wife didn't like it. But if the meal is at his house, then not only hosting but having buffet style sounds like a winner. Not enough information. Your goal seems to be your son spending time with his cousins. If that is the goal, then why make his food oriented when your son is dealing with Afrid and the other kids will be frustrated, upset or otherwise not understand? Why not just a playdate? Time at the park? An activity where they may need food but can make their own choices? Not original poster, but there's a huge amount of social connection tied up with food in most cultures. Cooking with grandparents, everyone sharing a meal, the time before and after, and it just isn't the same as a playdate at the park. Also, if multiple families are already carving out time once a month to do a dinner, there's not a huge chance those same families will carve out more time for a deprecate event. They could choose inclusion of a differently angled family member, but chose isolation instead for their own comfort. That's ableism. It isn't multiple families, as original poster has cleared up. This is a weekly dinner Sil holds for her and her children, and others can come if they would like. Sil only has one child anywhere near the age of original poster's child, as well as her kids are mostly grown or older teens, and it's arrive, dinner, leave, per original poster, so no real bonding time is happening. Original poster framed this as an extended family dinner when it really isn't. His family does dinners like this, so he just applied that same thing to Sil. Also, original poster excluded his child 4 years ago from these dinners. Sil just doesn't feel the need to extend an invitation at this point and didn't. Original poster tried and failed to invite himself. It makes more sense for Sil and original poster's family to carve out time for the similarly aged children to engage in an activity. Original poster invited themselves, Sil hesitantly agreed, he starts making demands, she shuts it down. This tells me that there's a history of something here. Why do you feel entitled to dictate the terms of family get-togethers in your sister-in-law's home? Are you somehow incapable of hosting family get-togethers in your own home? What's stopping you from inviting the cousins over to your place where you can set the menu? You are the asshole. Yeah, that's what gets me about the situation. I would be much less kind towards original poster. It's not the kid's fault obviously, but original poster doesn't really seem to understand that everything's not going to always line up for their kid. I don't quite get the focus on a family meal together, it just sounds like forced family togetherness. You are the asshole op. You are the asshole for pushing it. Once your Sil said, no, that should have been the end of it. But no, you want to make it a learning experience for her kids. That's not your job. Host the get-together yourself if it has to be centered around food. Otherwise, go and meet at a park. This is it. Not the A for wanting family time, but the second you stomped over Sil's parenting decisions for her kids, that's when you became you or the asshole. Of course you want to parent your kid in the best way, but guess what, so does she. Believe her when she says that accommodating your family will upset hers. Find another solution that doesn't stomp on someone else's autonomy. You are the asshole. Do you know how hard it is to get kids to eat? Then telling them to eat their food while your son has some McDonald's right in front of them? Come on, just think about it for a literal second. I think original poster knows pretty well how hard it is to get kids to eat. Seriously, talk about tone deaf. Jesus. Tone deaf Jesus. I was looking for a name for my band and I just found it. My initial reaction is to say not the asshole, because if he can't eat other food, then he can't eat any other food. Whilst I disagree partly with your Sil, I can, in some ways, understand where she's coming from. I don't agree with you in saying that an 8-year-old would understand this, which is why I think that if the kids were to have to watch your son eat that food, if they didn't get sad, they would at least get annoyed at him. I mean, you've got to think about your son here too. I doubt he'll be too popular if he's eating junk food whilst they're stuck with vegetables. They're too young, I think. So, for that reason, I'd say no assholes here. But, to propose a solution, what if, to just start off this family meal business, everyone ate the food that your son is comfortable with? It doesn't have to end up being regular, but to slowly build up your son's confidence, and to stop the other kids getting upset, 1 or 2 family meals where everyone eats some junk shouldn't be a big issue, should it? That's a good solution, original poster said in a comment. His son eats pizza, so a family pizza night seems like a great idea. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something. These family meals are only about once a month. Can they not all have a slice or two? YTA kids are kids. They don't understand mental health issues, all they're gonna see is their cousin eating fun food while they get to eat regular food. You don't think that's going to be an issue? Why not just feed him before you go spend time with family instead of trying to impose yourself in someone else's house? No means no. Not the asshole, and an easy way to resolve this is that all the kids get together and eat McDonald's once a month. It will be a once a month treat for the cousins. It's not like having a happy meal once a month will kill them. This way everyone gets the same thing, and the cousins don't get anything too different from what they usually eat. Your Sil doesn't have to explain anything difficult to them if that's really what her problem is. Exactly. We eat out way more than we should. 1 happy meal a month will not hurt them. And if you're lucky you can find one with a playroom. You are the asshole. There are lots of ways for the cousins to hang out that don't involve food. Do some of those. You are the asshole. Insisting on an invitation when the host has said they are not comfortable with the situation it would create is entitled. She doesn't want to feed her kids junk food. Your son is only willing to eat specific junk foods. She has little kids who won't understand that your son has an eating disorder, and will cause her stress. Preparing and hosting a large meal is stressful enough, so she has drawn the line here. Respect her boundaries. Offer to host if you want the kids to see your son. Or meet at a restaurant he's willing to eat at. Don't demand that she deal with tantrums. YTA for not listening to no. My niece has Afrid and my daughter understands, but there's still a level of resentment when she's made to eat a healthy meal by her grandma and my niece gets to eat nothing but ice cream.